That's not real. Get back to reality. Over time, they learn that dreaming is wrong, imagining is a waste of time, and being creative is being frivolous. And so, slowly, that powerful spark within them begins to fade. That's exactly what happened to me. As a child, I was bursting with ideas, but I was told they were useless. I grew up believing I wasn't good enough, that life was hard, and only the shrewd or lucky succeeded. By 16, I dropped out of school, adrift, with a mangled finger from a circular saw, and believe me, that physical pain was nothing compared to the pain of not seeing a future. But beneath it all, immense potential going to waste, just like millions of people every day. How many times have you heard phrases like, "That's not for you," "You'll never make a living from art," "Creativity doesn't pay the bills"? Then, fearing ridicule or failure, you suppress your dreams. You stop imagining. But here's the truth, almost nobody tells you. That voice telling you to stop dreaming isn't yours. It was implanted by your parents, teachers, peers, society. They stopped dreaming too, and now they think you should do the same. But the world needs exactly the opposite. Why do big companies have tiny, creative departments and massive, rule-bound structures? Because most people there don't believe they're creative. They think creativity is an exclusive gift for a select few. But I tell you with absolute certainty, we are all born creative. The difference is, some kept the flame alive, and others let it die. When I realized that imagination was a mental faculty as real as hearing, touch, or sight, it was like rediscovering a forgotten part of myself. The difference is, while physical senses connect us to the external world, imagination connects us to what doesn't yet exist. You don't need permission to imagine a new life. You don't need approval to dream big. And above all, you don't need to wait for the world to give you proof that it will work, because the truth is, the world only starts to change after you change your inner image. Look at figures like Walt Disney. He was fired from a newspaper because he lacked creativity. Yes, the same man who created entire universes visited by millions annually. But if he'd believed that criticism, if he'd let his imagination die, none of that would exist. Now think about how many of your own ideas died before they were even tested. How many ventures did you abandon because someone said it wouldn't work? How much talent have you hidden for fear of judgment? How many dreams have you buried because you were convinced it was too late? But let me ask you, who decides when it's too late? What are you waiting for? Absolute certainty, every resource, every contact, every guarantee. The truth is, you already have what you need. You have the image. And if you have the image, you have the plan. Your job is to keep that image alive even when everything around you says otherwise, even when the bills arrive, when doubt creeps in, when reality tries to pull you back. Because what defines your future isn't what happens out there, it's what you sustain within. So start imagining again. Daydream. Allow yourself to believe in bold ideas, because it's those very ideas that transform the world. And more than that, they can transform you. Have you ever thought about someone and they called you shortly after, or walked into a room and felt a tension in the air, even without anyone saying a word? That's not coincidence, that's energy, it's vibration, and the most incredible thing is, that vibration is directly linked to the images you hold in your mind, to how you use or disregard your imagination. There's a creative energy constantly flowing through you. It enters your mind and exits through your body in the form of action, attitude, words, presence. What determines the quality of this energy? The image you hold internally, and that image shapes the frequency at which you vibrate. And how does this vibration manifest consciously? As feeling. What you feel, you attract. If you spend your day feeling fear, insecurity, anxiety, anger, you're vibrating at a frequency that attracts more experiences aligned with those emotions. But if you spend your day feeling gratitude, confidence, enthusiasm, love, even without apparent reason, you're vibrating at a much higher frequency, which naturally attracts more prosperous results. This isn't cheap mysticism, it's physics. In the 30s, a Russian photographer named Semyon Kirlian developed a technique to capture images of the electromagnetic energy around bodies. He photographed people, and their images revealed an aura, a visible energy field. And modern science continues to study this. Renowned universities like Princeton and Stanford have documented experiments showing that the human mind can influence physical results. The field of positive psychology, for example, proves that people who cultivate positive thoughts and mental images have higher levels of well-being, productivity, and even physical health. But here's the problem. Most people are vibrating at the frequency of fear. They feed on negative news, surround themselves with toxic people, repeat phrases like, "Life is hard," "Money is tight," "Nothing ever works out for me." And when something goes wrong, they say, "See, I knew it." Of course, they knew it. They'd been rehearsing that outcome mentally for days, weeks, sometimes years. You don't attract what you desire, you attract what you are, what you constantly feel, and you feel what you imagine. Michael Jackson is a prime example, a genius. A sensitive, brilliant, creative soul. He could imagine entire songs before even playing them, but despite all that, he carried within himself an extremely distorted self-image. From a young age, he was a victim of criticism, rejection, humiliation, and those internal wounds, those painful images, shaped how he saw himself, and consequently, how he vibrated. With all his genius, fame, and fortune, he could never imagine a life of peace. And that destroyed him. That's why I tell you with such conviction, you need to take care of your vibration with the same care you take of your physical health. You worry about what you eat, right? So start worrying about what you think, what you imagine, what you feel, because it all starts there. You could be emotionally sabotaging yourself without realizing it, simply by clinging to negative images you repeat every day. And you don't even need elaborate rituals to change this. 5 minutes a day, 5 minutes of intense positive imagination can shift your entire frequency. It can be when you wake up, before you sleep, or even on the bus, in traffic. Close your eyes. See yourself where you want to be. Feel yourself there. Don't wish. Live as if it's already yours. Shift your vibration, and everything around you begins to reorganize. It's almost as if the universe says, now you're ready. And then doors open. People appear. Situations align. But it all starts within. In your mind, in your imagination, in your energy. Are you vibrating today what you want to live tomorrow? If the answer is no, you already know what you need to change. You don't need anyone to tell you it's your turn. You don't need to wait for a degree, recognition, an unexpected opportunity to start living like the person you want to be. The only permission you need is your own. And this may sound very simple, perhaps even naive, but it's the most powerful truth I've learned in life. The secret is to act as if you already are who you want to be. And I'm not talking about pretending. Pretense is empty. I'm talking about conscious creation, an inner choice so strong that the world around you has no choice but to adjust to it. William James, a pioneer of modern psychology, said the best way to become a new version of yourself is to use the actor's technique. Behave, think, and feel like the person you want to embody. Because your repeated behavior shapes your character, and your character shapes your destiny. But what do most people do? They wait. They wait to have money to start a business. They wait to have time to take care of their bodies. They wait for someone to love them, to feel lovable. They wait for the outside world to change so they can change from within. But the order is reversed. You change from the inside first, and then the world begins to reflect that. Have you ever wondered why so many people live in fear of appearing pretentious, arrogant, or even ridiculous for dreaming too big, for imagining too much, for acting like someone prosperous, successful, confident, even without yet having visible results. It's because we've been conditioned to believe that we can only act like someone successful after we have proof of success. But that's like waiting for the fireplace to warm up before putting in the wood. Life doesn't work that way. Want a striking example of someone who mastered this? Jim Carrey. Before fame, before success, before any big movie, he wrote himself a check for $10 million for acting services rendered. He dated the check 5 years into the future. You may be in debt, but see yourself as someone prosperous. You may be alone, but feel loved. You may be starting from scratch, but act like someone who already knows where they're going. It starts in your thoughts, continues in your feelings, and manifests in your actions. Here's a challenge. For the next 7 days, choose one area of your life where you want transformation. Finances, health, relationships, purpose. And every day, for a few minutes, close your eyes and see yourself there. And every day, he visualized that check clearing. He kept it in his pocket, looked at it, felt as if he'd already received it. 5 years later, he received exactly that amount for Dumb and Dumber. Coincidence? No. That's internal alignment. That's a mental image held with faith and consistent action. But be warned, acting like the person you want to be isn't about spending what you don't have or going into debt to impress. It's about adopting a different inner posture. See yourself living as if it were already real. Feel the emotion. Then open your eyes and act according to that version of you. Speak as she would, walk as she would, choose as she would. You'll notice the world starts to respond, not because it changed, but because you did. And what changes within transforms everything without. You're not here to wait for someone to give you a role. You're here to write your own. You already have the pen in your hand. The question is, will you keep waiting, or will you start living as the person you were born to be? Have you ever stopped to think that everything around us, absolutely everything, was once considered impossible? Electricity? Unthinkable. Flying in an airplane? Impossible. Instant communication across the globe? Unbelievable. And the most surprising thing? You still believe your life has limits. But honestly, if your mind can conceive it, what's actually stopping you from achieving it? That's where the journey begins. People often ask me, how did you go from nowhere, a complete nobody, to building a fortune, a stellar career, an exceptional life? The answer is so simple, it sounds ridiculous. I learned to harness the power of my imagination. From childhood, we're taught to think conventionally, follow rules, imitate models, but nobody teaches us to create powerful mental images of what we truly desire. Why? Because most people never learn. And what do? They repeat the same old patterns. Ever notice how often, before a problem even arises, you've already imagined it happening? Picture yourself broke, hopeless, rejected, failing. That's no coincidence. It's a mental pattern. The truth is, most people use their imagination against themselves. They visualize illness, debt, failure, painting a bleak future. And guess what? They create it. I know. Because for years, that was me. I saw myself as a loser, uneducated, directionless, constantly job-hopping, ashamed of myself. Then one day, one of those coincidences life throws your way when you're ready, even if you don't know it. A man gave me a book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. That book was a game changer. More than the words themselves, it was the core idea that transformed my life. I could build, in my mind, any reality I desired. And if I could hold that image with persistence and faith, it would begin to manifest in the physical world. And that's what I did. What does imagining with conviction feel like? It's you, even as a janitor or a mechanic, seeing yourself leading a corporation. It's you on minimum wage, signing checks for $5, $10, $50,000. It's you, alone, surrounded by people who admire and support you. It's you acting today like the person you want to be. Sounds crazy, right? But that's exactly what I did when I quit my firefighting job and started my first company. I had no experience, no formal education, and to be honest, I didn't even know what I was doing. But I had an image, a powerful image of myself, living with freedom and abundance. That image was so strong, it guided my decisions, my actions, my habits. Within a year, I was making over $100,000. In the 60s. Can you imagine what that meant for someone who barely finished high school? But here's the thing, I'm not exceptional. The difference is, I stopped using my imagination to destroy myself and started using it to build myself up. And you? How many times a day do you imagine yourself thriving? Do you allow yourself to dream of wealth, fulfillment, vibrant health, an extraordinary life? Or are you still stuck in the "what if it goes wrong" loop? If you're saying, "Oh, but I'm not creative," or "that doesn't work for me," let me tell you something. Every human being is inherently creative. What changes is how much that creativity has been suppressed throughout life. You possess a mental faculty called imagination. It's not childish fantasy. It's the foundation of everything ever created. Everything you use today, your phone, computer, chair, the camera recording this, was imagined before it existed. The question is, if you can imagine anything, why do you keep choosing to imagine scarcity, fear, and failure? Your body vibrates at the frequency of the images you hold in your mind, and that vibration attracts situations, people, ideas, and opportunities that harmonize with it. It's like tuning a radio. If you're vibrating with fear, you'll only pick up more fear. If you're vibrating with scarcity, you'll only attract more debt and unexpected problems. But if you start today to imagine with purpose, if you clearly choose the life you want and hold that image daily as a practice, things begin to shift. The right people show up, the right ideas come to mind, opportunities arise, and you suddenly begin to become that person who previously only existed in your mind. This is the true secret of limitless creativity. You don't need more knowledge, more courses, more validation. You need a clear, emotionally powerful image that drives you. And if you still doubt it, close your eyes now and see yourself living the life of your dreams. Feel it, touch it, breathe it in. Now tell me, can you visualize it? If you can, you already have everything you need. Remember how kids can transform any object into something magical? A box becomes a castle, a spoon a sword, a towel a superhero cape. They create entire worlds with breathtaking ease. Why? Because they're using our most valuable gift, imagination. But something happens. Gradually, they're told to stop dreaming.